Hey guys, Logan here. Today's video is going to be a introductory course for our newcomers as to why you might want to look into crypto, Bitcoin specifically, and get your diamond hands. I'm going to start with a video by Robert Breedlove on what is money.
Money, the marketability aspects of money boils down to five services that money can render. Money needs to be divisible, it needs to be durable, it needs to be recognizable, it needs to be portable, and it needs to be scarce. So I'll gloss over a lot of history with this and just say that historically, money's always been a technology, still is a technology or a tool. I use these terms interchangeably, and you think of a technology as just a more sophisticated tool, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Of to best satisfy those properties, monetary metals were determined to be the most satisfactory tool, the most divisible, most durable, most recognizable, most portable tool in the marketplace. Of the monetary metals, gold was the most scarce, as quantified by either its stock to flow ratio or its inflation resistance. So, simple way to say this is that
Mm.
people always prefer the money most resistant to inflation.
The reason that I find this clip so significant is because Bitcoin, upon its creation, improved upon these qualities that Robert speaks about. By making it software, as a store of value, it's more durable, it's more divisible, it's more portable, and it's more scarce. It's actually the most scarce asset we've ever seen. It's set by an algorithm. Only 21 million Bitcoin can ever be created, and the algorithm even predicts on an hourly basis how many Bitcoin will be mined. So it's really incredible technology from that standpoint. Um, so as a store of value, it's at a $1 trillion market cap right now. Gold is at 10 trillion. If Bitcoin kind of eats the gold market at $10 trillion, it would be $500,000 per coin. And then you think about kind of the broader economy. How are people trying to store their value across time? A lot of people will use real estate and equity in their houses. They'll use stocks, just trying to beat inflation, not because they believe in the companies. They're just trying to get a return. And so you could see Bitcoin actually potentially start eating it into these market caps as well. The next thing I want to go to is a theory from Jeff Booth, the author of The Price of Tomorrow, which I really recommend you guys read. This is a great perspective on where our economy is today and where it's headed. Jeff is a tech entrepreneur. He is on the board of a number of companies. He brought a software company to something like a $500 million market cap. So, really smart guy, really involved in the space. And he has a theory that, if true, is almost all I need to know in order to jump into the crypto space and to stay there. And that is that software is exponentially deflationary. And folks haven't quite figured this out yet, but we're starting to. And what we mean by that, Jeff will give an example here in a moment. But we're taking products that are analog, so that exist in the real world, and we are making them into networks digitally and making them go from a number of input costs and labor to essentially free. And what that's doing is that's causing deflation, which, if you're like me and you hear that word, I studied economics in college and we're supposed to hear that as really bad. There are a lot of different takes on that in the crypto world as you keep getting introduced. But in our current system, I think that is true, that deflation is bad, where we have a lot of debt in our economy. Government debt, corporate debt, individual debt is all at all-time highs right now. And inflation, what that does is it devalues the dollar over time, which actually devalues the cost of your debt over time as well. And so if you allow deflation to set in, that the cost of that debt actually increases over time because the value of your dollar is increasing over time as well. So I'll let Jeff speak on this, on why deflation can be such an issue.
Look at Blockbuster. We used to go drive to a store. They had 9,000 stores to rent a movie, to be able to bring that back, to be able to drive back and pay late fees on the movie. And they had a huge cost structure around that, to be able to rent movies. And then download speeds changed, and their entire business was upended in a nanosecond. and Netflix took over, and now we can watch as many movies as we want, as shows we want for $10 a month, and the entire infrastructure. So what did Blockbuster do when seeing that technology change? They added candy aisles to their stores, and they drove themselves off the cliff. So one year their profits went up because people wanted candy with their movies, and the next year it was gone. So now let's look at you would myself too, but records and cassette tapes. To understand music, we used to have to choose a very little amount of music because of the distribution cost of music, and there was somebody else that chose music for us. So a massive number of people wanted to create music to find us, but we had to go and choose. Somebody chose for us out of those massive number of people what music we would see, and that would be on the shelf. So we only saw a fraction of the music, and it cost a lot. I remember my cassette carriers and everything else, how much I had for the fraction. So I spent a lot of money. Now music's $10 a month, unlimited music, has created a whole bunch more stars that would have never been found in a different world. And there's no measure of that GDP gain. It's abundance for less, and it doesn't show up in your former measures because it's been digitized. So the efficiency that gains on a construct of GDP when you're measuring things is completely gone. This call we're doing right now. So if you know, because I'm front seat of this, if you understand what's coming to Zoom and other technologies, it'll make this feel like a real experience. This is a Gen 1 experience. Next, it completely changes. And that means, okay, we're doing this in Canada. I'm hiring talent all over the world right now because I'll get the best labor anywhere if we're working from home and can do this. And it has massive implications on where we're going. So most of the deflation is in front of us, not behind us. So if it took 185 trillion before COVID in the last 20 years to stop a natural force and concentrated wealth and division of society as a result, can you imagine what's going to come next?
The reason I have diamond hands, and you should too, is that last part right there. If software truly is this deflationary, right? If it is exponentially deflationary, then we have to print money exponentially in order to match it. Essentially, what Jeff is saying here is that our current monetary system is hosed. And so this completely changes the way that I evaluate risk. We see the volatility in crypto. Everyone knows about it. It's what everyone talks about. One day it's up, one day it's 40% down. It's insane. There's a lot of risks involved, but the reason I am able to buy and hold consistently is understanding that not buying crypto is also a risk. Um, we can talk about how that risk is evaluated all day long and what the real risk actually is. But to me, uh, it seems more risky to have zero Bitcoin than it is to own some Bitcoin. That just seems to be the reality to me. Because when it comes down to it, with this money printing game, no one's gonna have your back. You know, it's been a tough pill for me to swallow that um, things are changing quickly, and that if I'm unwilling to adapt, I am going to be left behind. So, um, I just wanted to give you guys a very high level perspective and why you guys can, um, look at this space and see a lot of opportunity, but potentially even see something different, which I see, which is safety. Um, so, just some thoughts there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Um, Best of luck. Jeff Booth and Robert Breedlove are both great sources. Check out their videos. Raul Paul does some good stuff. Mark Moss has some good videos, especially with Jeff Booth. So this is an introduction to you. Please continue your research. Please keep looking into this space. It served me really well over the last year, and I'm hoping it'll serve you as well. Thanks, guys.